Second episode of the Dynamic Podcast. I'm here with my co-host Dylan Carr. Dylan, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Can't complain, really.
Understandable.
I'm just happy to be. We missed last week due to some, something happened. But we're here today, and we're ready to do a good show.
Yes, sir. What we got? What do we have on the ledger today?
Well, this is the point of sports, of the sporting, season, where I realized NFL just ended a couple weeks ago, and all you football fans are still getting over it. But if you really think about it, this is when a lot of stuff. I mean, this is a good time to be a sports fan right now. You got, even though NFL just ended, you got the combine coming up. What, next week?
Yeah,
next weekend.
March something. Yeah, March 2nd, maybe.
Coming up, and then it's the start of the baseball season, spring training and all, and then hockey and basketball are getting into the thick of things with their regular season, just past the All-Star breaks and trade deadlines coming up with big moves, and then you got the March Madness coming up, which is always exciting. It's always interesting to see where the upsets come from and who comes out on top, and so it's a good time to be a sports fan.
It is. You're most definitely right. It's definitely a good time to be a sports fan. I mean, I don't know, I'm like really hyped for baseball this year, even like more so than other years. Hockey's doing really good. Being a Bruins fan, being really excited because we're making some moves. We're only 3 points back of Tampa, which is like they're like the best team in the NHL.
Right.
And yeah, you're right. It is a really good time to be a sports fan. There's like a lot of sports to watch, and you can always be entertained from them.
Yep, absolutely. Also, the Winter Olympics were just going on, coming to a close.
Yeah, shout out to U.S. men's curling for winning the gold medal.
That's right. I saw. I think Canada took the bronze in hockey. I'm not sure who the gold medal game was.
I think it might have been the Czech Republic.
No, Czechs were in the bronze with Canada. They lost 6-4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a freaking shootout, dude.
No, because like I'm pretty sure. No, I mean I was probably thinking of the group stage because I know I think the Czechs took like one of the group stage. I'm like, how the hell did you beat Canada?
Right.
But that's actually a good question. Like I feel bad because I haven't paid attention much to the Olympics this year, or because of school and all that. But,
right.
And I mean, plus like since the NHL players didn't go over, it's kind of just like eh.
Yeah, the Winter Olympics are something that can kind of get passed by sometimes since they're going on while you're in school. Well, at least for the younger audience, it's going on while you're in school, and even for the older. I mean, you're at work. You don't really have time to. I mean, with the Summer Olympics, you have all day to sit down and watch, and
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I'll never forget. I think you can never forget this year, the 2010 gold medal game. That was probably
the most entertained I've been watching a hockey game.
Like that was fantastic. And then 4 years ago we had T.J. Oshie's legendary shootout win
against Russia. I watched that one too. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was a little different without having the pro hockey players in there this year, but
definitely a change up.
Yep. Back to the good old days, long before our time. So let's dive into our first topic of the night here. We got MLB spring training just starting. What I believe the first game started yesterday, right? Well, the first team games. I think some teams played like colleges and stuff the day before.
Yeah, but I mean.
But yeah, the first real action started yesterday. We had some games today. I mean, one of the key highlights was Shohei Ohtani coming over from Japan, who everybody's really excited to see what he can do in the MLB. He pitched for LA tonight, and well, I don't think it's exactly what they would hope to see. He went 1 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So he also did give up a long ball, which I mean, nothing you want to be doing as a pitcher. The Angels did come out on top 6-5 for what it's worth. But so yeah, Ohtani's supposed to be this big time prospect, but it's also said that he was an unbelievable hitter over in the Japanese league as well. I believe that's where he's from. So it's kind of like right. At what point are you kind of like what? Let's turn him into a field player. Like as having a guy that could play both. How do you prioritize what you want him to do for you?
I mean, especially for the Angels because they're in the AL and it's the DH league versus a National League team. Like if a National League team wanted to take a chance on him, I would be fully understanding of that because he'd be able to show off his hitting and his pitching.
Right.
Because I'm looking at this now. I mean, supposedly at that game, Ohtani we got hit 97 miles per hour on his fastball, and his slider was at 80. You know, split finger was at 88, and that he had a nasty change, which like completely. You know, if you throw a 97 heater, he comes in with a curveball at 70 miles per hour. It's gonna change your. It really changes the pace real quick.
Right.
So I mean, and especially if the Angels take a shot on him, I mean, go for it. But I just don't understand. I'm just curious to see how they're going to utilize him, because if he can actually rake the bat, I mean, who would you rather have him as? Would you have him as a pitcher or a batter? Because you can't. It's hard to get both unless you only use him for interleague.
Right, and you know, obviously, the guy got a pretty decent contract for them to come over.
What do you get paid?
I can look into it. You know, he bats lefty, throws righty, so you know it's obviously, you know, that's encouraging, being a left-handed hitter.
Yep.
But you know, I don't know. It's tough to decide, man. You know, I assume he's gonna be getting spot starts, maybe in a field position as well. You know, I would assume that they'd want to get him at the plate to see what he brings in that aspect.
Yeah, you got that right. You know, like, I mean, I've been like some reading, because you know we can't watch Angels games because you know they're in the Cactus League for one thing, and you know they're on the West Coast. But from what I've honestly been reading, all that, it seems like that he has promise as a hitter, but they feel, a lot of the scouts feel that like his more long-term value will be as a pitcher. So I think as much as you want having that two-way star ability is great, and unfortunately you probably only have to stick with one. You have to choose one of them. So I think they're using him as a pitcher.
Right. Could you elect to use your pitcher as a DH in the AL? Is that a thing?
Could you elect it?
Yeah. You know, is that against the rules?
I don't think you can. I think DH is required.
Right. I'm just saying, like, what if you like elect to have your pitcher, you know, be your pitcher / DH?
I mean,
You know?
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
I mean, obviously this argument has no merit if the guy can't even hit. I mean, he seems to have an ability to pitch. You know, as you said, he threw a 97 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah, he clocked it up pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's no fluke being able to throw 97. That's above the big league average for sure.
Yep. Got that right. And I'm not sure if we talked about this in the last episode, but who remembers the Freak? And I mean, the Freak doesn't mean Tim Lincecum. He's making a comeback. He's trying to make a comeback, apparently.
That's what I've heard. I heard his trial was very encouraging.
Yeah, a lot of scouts. There's like, at least 20 plus scouts in attendance, and he was topping in around 90, 93, which is about the average. But still, I mean, it was better compared to his like second stint with the Angels, where he only had like 87, 88.
Right.
On his fastball. And a lot of scouts were really encouraged by his little session that he had. But I'm curious to see. I don't think he's gotten an offer yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's really all about who's willing to take a shot on him, you know, at that point.
Yeah.
You know, a team that had nothing to lose, you know, maybe you come in and, you know, throw some money at him, see what he does, and then, you know, if he does turn out, that's a trade asset right there. If you're in a rebuilding stage, you know.
Yeah, sure.
If he comes in and pitches well and proves that he can help a playoff contending team, you know, make a push, then, you know, that's a good thing for you. Or, you know, you're a team that's already there and you just need another pitcher, and, you know, you got to take a shot on a guy. You know,
yeah, like
it can't hurt, you know, to give Tim Lincecum a spot start, see what happens, and then go from there.
Sure. Got that right.
So, as you heard in the first episode, you know, the Orioles are our hometown team. They're the fans of, and, you know, they lost 6-3 yesterday, but something very encouraging for Orioles fans happened at the bottom of the ninth yesterday. A 3-run homer from the young catching prospect Chance Sisco. As the Orioles lost 6-3 to Tampa Bay. But, you know, when one of your young guys comes out and hits a 3-run jack, it's a very it's something you want to see.
Especially when he's been like ranked your best prospect for a couple years in a row.
Yep. Good to see. And he went 2 for 2. I assume his other hit was just a single. But 2 for 2, a homer, 3 RBIs. Not a bad day. Not a bad impression.
Not bad at all.
I mean, you assume that he's going to end up being at least the number 2 catcher on the team, if not getting some, depending on the situation. I believe he's a lefty batter, Cisco.
As a catcher?
I believe so. Maybe switch. I definitely think he's at least switch.
That's nice. That's really nice, actually.
So, maybe you get a thing where, bats lefty.
That's awesome.
So, maybe you get into a situation where,
Welcome to Major League Baseball, young man.
Maybe you get him into a situation where he, ends up platooning, left first, depending on the pitcher, with Caleb Joseph, who you assume would be the other guy that's going to be there with him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got that right. I mean, hell, if, you're facing, Baum, that happens to be Baum in the ninth, and you're facing a right-handed closer, pinch him.
Yeah, always good to have a lefty bat coming off your bench.
Especially, yeah, always nice to have a lefty bat. But there is one question that the Orioles do have to answer. Who's going to be an infielder off the bench? Because right now, I'm pretty sure we have like 3 outfielders and a backup catcher.
Yeah, that's a very good question. You make a very good point. I don't know, but I will tell you something that wasn't very encouraging for Host fans today.
What?
In today's game, in a 6-9 loss to the Phillies, Dylan Bundy, 2 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 1 homer.
Yikes.
It's spring training. It's a question of how much merit do you hold to it, but one of your only guys that you think might be something decent comes out and pitches like that. It can be a little discouraging, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think me and you banked on him like being the one guy who can be consistent, and he showed that last year. Had the lowest ERA on the entire staff. Which wasn't saying much. It was a freaking 4.25.
Yeah, that was the lowest.
But still, there's always room for improvement. And I felt like he could definitely take that next step this year. But that first start, of course, isn't too encouraging. But at the same time, we can't. I don't think it'd be fair to raise, go to DEFCON 1 over 1 start in spring training.
Right.
But
something else encouraging, another youngster, Anthony Santander, the right fielder, 23 years old, is so far 3 for 6 in both spring training games, 1 RBI, 1 stolen base. So, it's good to see your young guys performing in spring training games. It's encouraging as a Nose fan, because our farm system has been shaky at best lately.
Yeah, Keith Law hasn't been too kind to us in those rankings, but I think we're slowly starting to rise up, which is kind of nice. It's nice to see.
Oh, just like to point something out. Chris Davis today, 1 for 4, 3 strikeouts.
Would you expect anything less?
Probably not. Yeah, to be honest with you.
I bet, and I'm going to guarantee you that at least one of those strikeouts was a high inside fastball.
Yeah, well, that's how it is.
Just hasn't been able to adjust to it. Once pitcher's figured him out, he doesn't like the high inside fastball. It's been a wrap.
Yeah, he had that one year. We talked about it in the first episode. He had that year where he was on fire, and it's why he's making the money he is right now.
Yeah, he jacked like 53 bombs.
Yep. And he had the other year when he was decent, like 260, and he had like 40 bombs. And, you'll definitely take that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But Ryan Flaherty played against us today. What a shame. 1 over 2.
1 over 2.
Scored a run, though.
Hey, man, he's the definition of a utility.
Yeah, good for Flats, man.
Flats.
Didn't he pitch against the Phillies when we hit like the
I'm
9?
Pretty sure he did.
When we hit like the 9 homers against them.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, we were smoking him, and he did play pitcher. I think. Was there? I'm not sure. I think there was he played 8 of the 9 positions. I think.
In one game.
No, in his
career.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure. I'm not sure which one it was. It might have been catcher. I don't think he played catcher, but other than that,
I know they announced that he was the emergency catcher on the team.
Emergency, yes. I don't think he was actually ever used.
But I don't know if he ever, yeah.
Welcome to Major League Baseball, young man.
Because they invested so much in last year.
Everywhere else.
You hate to lose him for a month and a half as he goes down on strikes.
I'm trying to find Cisco's 3-run bomb yesterday.
Discover adventure this season and start.
That was definitely nice to see. I mean, do you have any idea how Austin Hayes is doing, considering the minor league player of the year last year?
I don't know if I saw his name in the lineup either days. I'm looking at Cisco. He won Oppo too. Cisco 3-run shot. Yep.
Joe Mauer? Question mark.
For the left field fence. It's definitely something good to see. I know you're gonna say it's probably against a AA pitcher or something, but hey.
So. Okay, well, apparently, Austin Hayes is dealing with a sore lat muscle. He has a sore back, which isn't good to see, but.
Yeah, I imagine they're not gonna push him back right here.
Yeah.
Push him back too fast here.
But sports he.
Discover
But
adventure this
it
season.
says here he took batting practice and probably could have played, but he wanted to give the outfield an extra day. So I would expect to see him on their next game, which I believe is Sunday, which is tomorrow, or should I say later today?
Right.
And I do believe they play the Twins today. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they do. They play the Red Sox actually. I'm looking at it right now. Yep. Okay. Gabriel Yanoa scheduled to pitch for us. Brian Johnson scheduled to play pitch for the Red Sox. The lineup right now. They do have Hayes in the lineup, hitting third tomorrow.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't know if this is the exact order, but this is who is on roster.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Beckham, Davis, Hayes, Jones, Joseph, Machado, Mancini, Rickard, Santander, Scope, Cisco, Andrew Suzak, Mark Trumbo, Vielma, and Austin Wynns.
Okay.
As the batters for the Orioles tomorrow. Batters for the Red Sox, they got Benintendi, Betts, Bogarts, Bradley, Devers, Hernandez, Brockholt, Leon, Sandy Leon, Lynn, Marrero, Moreland. So both teams are bringing their starters to the plate this game. Which that's always fun to see, watching the spring training game, getting to see the starters for the first 3 innings or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be good to see if Austin Hayes gets a couple at bats in tomorrow. It'd definitely be encouraging. He's only 22 years of age right now.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially when you're minor league player of the year and you're already getting pretty much an audition. 22 years old, pretty good.
Yep. Hopefully he continues. He rides the wave of that minor league player of the year and brings some success to the big league club this year, because we all know they're going to need it. They're going to need everybody they can get if they want to make any type of. I believe ESPN has them at a 0% chance of winning the World Series. So, but yep. Baltimore's also used to that. No one expected them to do much. So we'll see. I feel a little I feel a little optimistic sometimes, and then I kind of take a peek at the other team's rosters. It's kind of like, oof. Boston and New York are pretty stacked this year. Toronto has a pretty solid roster as well.
Yep.
And, Tampa Bay, any division game, is no gimme anyway.
True. You're correct about that.
And it doesn't help when the teams are already loaded, so.
I mean, yeah. The problem, it's like one of those years where you think the Orioles, the season can go, it can go a couple different ways. I mean, the Orioles are probably projected 4th or 5th, but I mean, if the pitching can actually perform above expectations consistently, we can have a shot to make a wild card. I don't think we have a shot at the division because the two teams that are above us, the Sox and the Yankees and the Bronx Bombers. But I think if you're able to secure your wins against the Blue Jays, especially against the Blue Jays, I think we can have a fair shot at the wild card. But
here's what I do not want to see.
What?
I do not want to see the Orioles have a tank this season and Manny Machado is still on the roster at the end.
Yeah, for 81 and 84 or whatever.
Right.
81, 81, yeah.
Because that will be what ultimately does the Orioles in when they just let him walk away for nothing. Nothing. That's what they could do.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, you have to have you have to be I guess if you're Dan Duquette at the All-Star break, you have to really be realistic with yourself. Do you really ask, do the Orioles really have a chance to make noise?
Right. Here's what you got to think. If you're not going to the World Series this year, there is no reason to keep this guy on your team. No, there's just no reason. He's not. He's made it clear that he's gonna want big money. And I just feel like he just seems like he has that personality where he wants to be in the spotlight of one of those big cities like L.A. or New York or Chicago.
Yeah.
So, I just can't see a scenario where Machado re-signs with the Orioles. I don't think that's,
It's hard to see, yeah. I mean, I hope we don't resign. I appreciate what Manny's done as a player, He's a fantastic ball player. But at the same time, we need to get... I feel like the rebuild's inevitable. The teardown is going to happen. It's going to happen eventually.
Right.
I just hope we can do it right and have a sustained success, because we did a rebuild, and partially I feel like this partially worked, because we got Machado and Trey Mancini came up, and we're having these chances coming up. It's nice to see
scope,
but we didn't. It's not like Cubs Astros success.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to talk about a rebuilding success, the Astros killed it.
Yeah, and
they suck, yes, but they killed it.
And way back when the Orioles made that move, they traded Bedard and got Tillman and Jones, and Jones has arguably been the face of the franchise since coming in.
Mm-hmm.
He might not had the best numbers on the team, but he's always that guy. He's a leader on the field. He's got a great glove out in center field. He's got
a cannon.
Right. He's a consistent 270, 25 home runs, 80 RBIs hitter. That's at least what you're going to get out of him.
Yep. At the time, think about it too. Eric Bedard is probably, for Orioles, probably was the best pitcher.
Yep.
As far as I can remember. Granted, that's not saying much because the Orioles were terrible in the 2000s. But, giving up Eric Bedard, who was a lefty, who was, a southpaw, and could be considered your ace at that time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Giving him up for, at the time, a very young Adam Jones and Chris Tillman, had no idea what they could do. I think it turned out pretty well. That trade definitely helped.
And, Tillman's, he's had his years where he has been very solid for us. Last year, I think you're not crazy to say it's the worst we've ever seen out of him. But, you bring him back this year. He was injured last year. Okay. Obviously, if it happens again, you sign him to a 1-year deal. He's got, his career probably over, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody else would take a chance on Chris Tillman if he has another atrocious season.
Especially with, a shoulder injury that requires, one of those, injections or whatever that, out, takes him out for a month.
We'll see. My heart obviously wants me to say, oh, yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to have a good season this year, but I don't know. I just see them floating around 500 all year, maybe, at best, and then...
we got the gauntlet. The Orioles got the gauntlet. Nice and early in the season.
Right.
Essentially, the top 2 of 3 teams in the AL, and twice in the first month.
You're going to get a chance to show what you're made of right away.
Got that right. You know, if the Orioles, somehow walk out of those series with like series wins, oh shit. But will it happen? Probably not. But
your first 10 games, you're playing the Twins, coming off their best season in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You got the defending champs, the Astros, and you have what a lot of people are probably saying one of the most dangerous lineups in baseball, the Yankees, for 4 games. And not only is the Yankees, lineup going to be great. Look at that pitcher rotation. They still got Sonny Gray. They still got Tanaka. They still got Severino. Sabathia is still, it seems like he's been getting better.
Timeless wonder.
Right.
It's just insane how they.
And they're another team that rebuilt. I mean, obviously they just brought in Stanton, but they're another team that built from within. And they made the right trades, and
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the Yankees, it's just the Chapman situation they handled fantastic. They were able to dish him out as a rental, still win 84 games, and then brought him back in the offseason. He won his ring with the Cubs and bring him back.
Yeah, how brilliant that guy is, huh?
That's brilliant.
Go on and get my ring and get paid and come back.
Yeah. That's genius. And then, he gets...
And do you know who was at the helm during all that time?
Girardi.
Joe Girardi.
Yep.
Which I cannot believe that he got fired. Now, I know him and Cashman didn't really see eye to eye. And, they weren't big fans of each other. Which probably, in the end played the biggest role in him being out. But come on, man. When that team was supposed to be terrible, he kept them in the relevant all through those years.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to tell me a rebuilding year is winning 80 games,
right?
Please, that's a blessing.
Exactly. At some point they weren't. It wasn't crazy to think they were going to make the wild card. They were in the race.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously a great manager. I mean, he hasn't been hired by anyone for this upcoming season, but I'm pretty damn sure we're going to see Joe Girardi in someone else's dugout in one of the years to come.
It'd be kind of cool if you went to the Miami reunite with Jeter. I don't know how that relationship is or was during their time together.
Right. Yeah, remember when Jeter hit that walk-off against us in his last home game?
That's true. But yeah, I do remember that.
Man, should have intensely walked him. That stadium would have went bananas. In the bad way if he would have got intensely walked.
Yeah. It definitely should be an interesting year. It's so many question marks that I want to, that has to be answered. But, only time will tell if this season for the Orioles will be legit or not, And we can't forget, they also signed Colby Rasmus to a minor league deal, but, I gotta be brutally honest with you, Colby Rasmus should have been signed 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't really see what he's going to bring to us now. He's 31, he's kind of heading towards the back alley of his career.
Yeah.
Last year, he finished the year with Tampa Bay, correct?
I believe so. Either that or Toronto. I think it's Tampa.
Yeah. I don't know. It's low risk, high rewards, Bringing him into a minor league deal, maybe he comes up and, plays a decent. He's probably a decent outfielder. He's a lefty. He career 240 hitters, hit 165 homers. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I don't know if he's gonna be on the 25-man roster for opening day.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. To be really honest with you, we should have gotten him when he left the Cardinals before the Blue Jays got him. But we'll see how it goes. There's a whole month of spring training left.
Right.
We'll definitely see. It'll definitely get his plate appearances. Whether he makes use of them or not is to be determined.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like when we bring these guys in, like right before spring training, the only one I can think that panned out like that is Nelson Cruz.
Raked it.
I mean, but Nelson Cruz was a whole different. Nelson Cruz was already established as, he was. Him not getting signed was kind of the backlash of that suspension he got.
Yeah.
But I bet you 29 other MLB teams are kicking themselves that they didn't go out and get him that year. Orioles got him for cheap.
Yeah, because of the suspension.
Yep. And boy, did he cash in.
Yeah, and what if we further cashed in after that year?
You mean re-signing him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You don't know.
Very hard to predict the future.
I mean, he was a very integral part of that team that won 96 games.
Yeah, you got that right.
So
he definitely did a lot to grow that offense, especially in the first half of that year.
Mm-hmm. And he had the big 2-run shot to win that game against Detroit, which, I mean, at the time we didn't know it was the Orioles' last playoff win of that season.
Yeah.
And they ran into a very, very hot Kansas City Royals team.
Yep. Got that right.
I've never seen a team have so many breaks go their way. It's easy to sit back and be mad about it and be upset, but it's just kind of like, you know what? We just weren't meant to win that one.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do on broken bat bait bloop singles? I mean, there's like nothing you can do like at that point.
Right.
I mean, you can try to knock out the starter, but who's waiting in the bullpen? Those big three the big three pitchers that the Orioles couldn't solve.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's frustrating, but it is what it is. There's only so much you can control in that situation.
That was a fun year. I mean, for us, we obviously weren't alive when the Orioles were
used to that. We're not used to that type of success.
Right, we weren't alive when the Orioles were out winning their World Series in the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
So, that was the best we ever seen. 96 games.
Yeah, that was the best team you ever seen.
Win a division, sweep through the divisional round.
Yep. It was really cool. It was really cool to experience, as being a fan.
Yep.
Definitely something I'll never forget.
But it does look like the days are dark coming up for the Orioles. I don't know. We'll see what this year brings. It's going to be, they're as good as their pitching. And I guess you could really say that about any other MLB team, but, we've seen it. The Orioles are going to be able to score runs. Now, sometimes there's only one way for them to score runs, but,
Yep.
So let's move into another topic here, getting into spring training. NHL. The NHL. We're starting to get into the thick of things, man. It's the second half of the season.
Yep.
The trade deadline's coming up, this next weekend?
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of trades happening, kind of under the radar. I mean, I haven't heard much of them, but then, I've been reading up on. It's definitely been some pretty big name trades. But what I can see, I think the big one was the Penguins acquired Derek Brassard and a bunch of other forwards from Ottawa. Ottawa ends up getting Ian Cole and goalie Phil Gustafson and a couple of draft picks, which is definitely going to help them out in the rebuilding process. And then Vegas, it was actually a 3-team deal. Vegas ends up acquiring Ryan Reeves and a 4th-round pick. So, Penguins get Brassard, who scores at least 20. I think usually scores around at least 20 a year. So, because, they have problems scoring because, they don't have Crosby and Malkin or anything. But I think that just makes their offense more dangerous. I'm going to be honest, when the Penguins signed Ryan Reeves, it was a question mark for me because he was going to be he's like the only enforcer on the Penguins. Like the Penguins are not known for being a bruising team that's going to lay down the lumber on people.
Right.
Or known for the speed and for just pure skill, which, has won them 3 Stanley Cups in the past 10 years. So, yeah, but other than that, there have definitely been a couple other trades. The Devils acquired Michael Grabner from the Rangers, who has scored 25 this year and is definitely going to help the Devils out. And then I guess the other big trade, you can say, and for me being a Bruins fan, the Bruins acquired Nick Holden, added for defensive depth. And then I guess the other one is the Kings acquired defenseman Dion Phaneuf from the Senators, who, if some people may not know, he was the captain for the Leafs for a long time.
Right.
Got traded to the Senators as a rental last year. Senators didn't work out, and so he's ended up staying with them. And then, I believe he's going to be a rental for the Kings this year, and the Kings look to move up in the Pacific standings. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, you were just talking about the Penguins making that deal to get the attack, and let me tell you something. They're a hot team right now.
It was just like last year too. I mean, thinking about it this way, they weren't like blowing everything away. I mean, in November they were like dead last in the Metro. But and then once like Christmas rolled around, after Christmas they've been red hot.
Right.
And it's really about and then in hockey, it's really about getting hot at the right time.
Exactly. This is kind of a crazy year going on in the NHL right now. Teams that have had, success for years are at the bottom of their divisions right now. The Rangers sit at the bottom of the Metropolitan Division. The Blackhawks sit at the bottom of the Central Division.
Yeah,
the Canucks are, not having that much success. The Kings are in 5th place right now in the Pacific Division.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easier when they add a freaking team into Las Vegas that's, destroying everyone in the points in their conference right now. Closest team is the Sharks with 74 points. The Golden Knights, 86. With a goal differential of 49.
That's insane.
They've scored 215 goals. More than everyone except, the Lightning. And we know how that offense is with Steven Stamkos in that.
Yep.
Well, it's just that, you want to know how to nail an expansion draft, just look at the blueprints, because the Golden Knights, they did it.
They nailed it. They slayed. I mean, that blows my mind. I mean, you would never have thought an expansion team would be doing this well and almost be a lock for the playoffs at this point.
Yep.
But, I think, if you had to ask me the biggest surprise this year, I think it's definitely been the inconsistency of the Blackhawks. I mean, Corey Crawford's absence has definitely been huge. Because, even though people say Corey Crawford wasn't the greatest regular season goaltender, but man, he gets it done. You can't deny, winning 3 cups.
Right.
You can't. And you would think with having Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, they got Patrick Sharp back, they got Brandon Saad, yeah, Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith, all those players were on the Stanley Cup rosters, and they're sitting dead last in the Central. It's hard to ask why. Like, why this year is it not the same?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. And also another surprise to me, the Jets from Winnipeg. Definitely didn't see them doing this well. They're tied right now with the Predators for the Central Division at 83 points.
Yep, making a run at the first seed of the Western Conference right now.
Yeah, the Predators and the Jets are only 3 points back from the Knights, the Golden Knights, and it's going to be a tight one for the Western Conference. Who gets the 1 seed? The top 3 spots are going to be up for grabs. If you want to talk about a tight division, the Metropolitan.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure. The top, 4 teams all, Devils sitting in 4th at 72, and then you got the Penguins and the Flyers at 76, and the Caps at 77. The Flyers in their last 10, 9-0-1.
Red hot. They're on a 5-game winning
streak. Yeah, Philly won that Super Bowl, and all of a sudden the Flyers just started.
Got inspired all of a sudden. Started, slowly kicking everyone's ass. And the Penguins last 10, 7-2-1. Still pretty good.
Yep.
The Devils are. Think about this, but the Devils are only really 4 points back from the Flyers and the Pens.
And they picked up
can't afford to drop 2 or 3 in a row.
And we were watching this a couple weekends ago. They picked up a big win over the Lightning on a couple Saturdays ago on the 17th.
That was a very big win.
4-3. I mean, since then, they beat Carolina and they dropped 1 to the Blue Jackets and the Wild, and then they beat the Islanders. They got the Penguins next, which is gonna show what you're made of.
Pretty much.
If you guys are, if you're a legit contender, you got to go out and you got to win games like this.
Yep, and there's definitely the Metro's going to be definitely determined because the Penguins have to play the Flyers twice and the Capitals still one more time.
Right. And
they also have to play the Devils twice.
Right.
The one matchup coming up this coming Tuesday, and then there's going to be a Wednesday night rivalry game for Pens Flyers at 5 p.m. on Wednesday the 7th. That's going to be a big one. And then the last Caps Penguins game is going to be on Easter at 4:30. So there's definitely the Metropolitan's still not. Seems like it's not going to be wrapped up until essentially the last game of the year.
And the Caps are going to be up for that game.
Yep.
It's until they get to the playoffs where they kind of.
It might just be a Washington thing. It's not just the Capitals; the Nationals do it too.
Yeah, the Redskins can never get to the point to do it. I'll be honest with you. The Wizards, a lot of teams were picking them to go see the Cleveland in the conference finals last year. They were flying high and mighty, and then they ran into Boston, lost in, it was a great 7-game series, but, ran out of gas. A lot of teams were picking them to beat Boston. A lot of people, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems to be something about that city where their teams just underachieve,
Yeah, great regular season.
And if you really want to get down to Georgetown basketball, look at they've been lately. They're supposed to be, dominating.
They were good for a long time too.
Up until the past couple of years, when I was growing up, they were. Yeah, I always remember Georgetown being solid.
Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, they just haven't been consistent. They're not what they used to be. They're not like a household name anymore. And I guess that'll transition us into another topic of discussion for tonight. March Madness right around the corner.
It sure is. It sure is right around the corner.
We got about 2 weeks.
Yep, I believe most of the regular season games are wrapping up.
Yeah, I think there's probably a couple still games worth watching coming up. I believe there's one more Duke UNC game coming up. Not sure when, but I believe there's one more. So those are always fun to watch.
Yep. Well, I got Joe Lunardi's bracketology pulled up here.
Mm-hmm.
And as of today, this is as up to date as we have. He updated it on
Try Degree Ultra Clear Black plus White.
So yesterday.
And
a couple days ago.
Right. So he has right now the 4-1 seeds, Virginia being the number 1 out of all those. So you got Virginia, Villanova, Kansas, and Xavier as the 1 seeds. Mm-hmm. The 2 seeds being Auburn, Duke, Michigan State, and Purdue.
Okay.
I think Virginia has a very good shot at riding this wave all the way to the championship game.
And we can say that for I think you could say that for the past couple of years, but the thing is, they're able to score. this time. I feel like they're able to score more better than previous teams when they had like London Parentis, but they still have a couple of good players left on their squad. They still have a very good team. They always play a great defense. I mean, take a look at example of that. I mean, granted they play Pittsburgh, sure, but holding any team under 40 points.
Yep.
Is impressive.
And they've had no bad losses all season. Any loss they've had has been in the RPI 1 to 50. They lost to Virginia Tech, got upsetted, which wasn't supposed to happen. Lost very early on in the year to West Virginia, which the argument could probably be made.
West Virginia's like hit or miss.
Right. The argument could probably be made that Virginia was not what they are now as a team. Plenty of big wins for Virginia throughout the season, going to Duke and winning, beating Clemson, holding Clemson to 36 points.
Yeah.
Clemson is ranked 18th right now. They were held to 36 points. They scored 13 points in the second half against Virginia.
Yeah, only 13.
In 20 minutes of basketball, 13 points.
That's insane.
If you're able to score, 60, 65, 70 points consistently, you're going to win because you're going to hold teams to... let me try to figure out the most they've given up this year. I don't believe they've allowed into the 70s all season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure it out. I think the most they given up was in that 68-61 loss to West Virginia.
Yeah. That's insane. Like 68, and that's not in the grand scheme of things. That's nothing.
Right.
Like you'd expect that in any other game. That's a loss. A lot of teams. But no, like Virginia has they play such good defense, and with they being able to score, that's the luxury of having great defense is that you only have to score 60 points.
And hey, look here, shout out to Tony Bennett. He is one of the best coaches in college basketball right now.
Agreed.
He kind of goes under the radar. He's not really a doesn't really have that flamboyant personality as some other coaches.
Yeah, I mean, when you have, Roy Williams and Coach K in the same conference, it's definitely easy to get overshadowed.
I mean, but he's only 48 years old. His record is 214-85.
Mm-hmm.
He's
got results.
He's been very successful. And, it's looking like he's making a run at his first national championship here.
Virginia's definitely had those real possibilities to do it in previous years, but to me this year I feel like they have.
Try
I
Degree
feel like
Ultra
this
Clear
year
Black
might be
plus
the
White.
best shot to do it versus any other year because the past couple of years there's been insanely good Duke and Kentucky teams and Michigan State teams that have been standing in the way or like very hot. Like we mentioned this in the NHL. It's about getting hot at the right time. That's the same thing for college basketball. You're able to get hot at the end of the season and make it through the conference tournaments, and especially as a lower seed, you win your conference tournament and then you have the poise to upset a bit of a high seed. Then that ruins a lot of people's brackets. But I feel like Virginia's been so consistent this year with great defense. They're able to score better than they have previously. I think they have a good formula to win it and cut down the nets.
Yes, they do. Defense wins championships.
Any sport.
We all know that.
Got that right.
And a team that I see very upsettable, as I'll put it for lack of a better term, Michigan State, in my opinion, is a very upsettable team in this NCAA tournament. I'm not saying they're going to be they're marked as a 2 seed right now, which if they go on to win the Big Ten tournament could obviously change. They could get bumped up to that 4th 1 spot or something like that. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just seeing, a possible 7-10 upset against the 2 seed because Michigan State is so hit or miss,
Sure.
And we saw that. And, you know, you're not going to be playing Northwestern every time you get down by 26.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really honest, you can't go on a 28-2 run every game.
Right. You know, they did the same thing with Maryland. They were down 13 at halftime, but, you know, I think it was like 16 minutes left in the first half. Left in the second half. The game was already tied back up.
Yeah.
But in the tournament, you're not going to be able to get, you know, those deficits. When teams smell blood in the NCAA tournament, they, you know, they are never going to take their foot off the gas. So, yeah, I have a feeling that Michigan State could be one of those high seeds that goes out early.
Yeah, I mean, and also you mentioned that Auburn's projected to be a number 2. I think that that may be like the big upset, a 15-2 upset this year for me. I don't know. I'm just not impressed with Auburn. I mean, it's fantastic what they're able to do. You know, win 20+ games and, you know, real shot at winning the SEC. But I'm just not impressed. I mean, I watched them. They lost to South Carolina, which is essentially dead last in the SEC East.
Right.
And that's a bad loss.
Yeah.
I mean, granted they made a Final Four run last year. That's awesome. But this year, they were like questionable at best. 14-14.
Yeah, they're definitely not making the tournament this year. That's a fact. You know, I think Lunardi had Auburn as a 1 seed before that loss. So, you know, it obviously didn't punish them that much. You know, I don't think they're going to lose their first game, to be honest with you. You know, I don't think they're quite that bad. It all depends on who they draw, though, you know. Because some of those lower conference teams that win their conference tournament, they're legit, man. Mm-hmm. If it's one of those teams that's like, you know, sneaking in, one of those mid-majors sneak-ins that, you know, are on the bubble.
Yeah.
You know, they usually lose their first game. You know, they're not usually making it. But if it's one of those legit teams that won their conference tournament, and yeah, I agree with you. I could definitely see Auburn going out very quickly in this tournament. And I'm gonna tell you who. There always seems to be that one team each year that shocks everybody and makes a run to Sweet 16 and beyond. The one year was Dayton. Mm-hmm. I remember trying to think of other times. Butler used to do it when Brad Stevens was coach.
Butler?
When Brad Stevens was coaching, you know, Butler used to make those deep runs into the tournament.
VCU had those 2 years.
Yep.
Who you got this year?
My team to make a surprise Sweet 16 run at least is St. Bonaventure.
Why do you say that?
Take the gas right now. St. Bonaventure is a legit threat in this tournament. This team is 21-6 right now. They have beaten Rhode Island, who was ranked. They've beaten Syracuse, who's obviously a very tough, you know, well-known program. They beat Maryland. They beat, they have a lot of good wins. They beat VCU. They've beaten many notable opponents this season. And, you know, I just see them as a team that's going to make that run.
Definitely understandable. I mean, what do you project them to be, like a 13 or a 12 seed?
They're probably going to be 11, 12, 13, yeah.
So that's definitely, you know, a viable upside. Because, I mean, you know, for example, when I go to pick brackets and all that, you know, there's always a collection of, like, there's always going to be, like, a 12, like 12-5, like 11-6 kind of upset. You know, I would say, I think, you know, you hit it right on the money. You know, when they beat Rhode Island when they were ranked, that's a high-quality win, especially in that conference. And so, you know, the Big East is no joke for basketball. And so, I would agree with you. I mean, I think Bonaventure has a real chance to make some noise.
And right now, they're listed at playing Michigan.
That's a very winnable game.
I'm not sold on Michigan at all. I've seen them, I've seen Michigan being a Maryland fan in the Big 12 all season. You know, they did have a very good win against Michigan State that one night and Ohio State, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just not very sold on them. I've seen them play very shaky. They've lost twice to Purdue. Close games. Michigan, they always seem to... Remember last year when they made that run out of nowhere?
Yeah.
To the...
literally out of nowhere.
To the Big Ten championship, and then won a couple games in the tournament as well, I believe. They had that whole big thing with the team playing them was crashing.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So yeah, I mean that's just my prediction. I think St. Bonaventure is going to be that sleeper team that comes in and wreaks a little havoc in people's brackets. You heard it here first, so you better.
You heard it here first.
I'm warning you. You better pick them.
Yep. February 25th. Calling it 2 weeks in advance.
Discover new Dove Men Plus Care foaming body.
Definitely something to watch out for. I agree with you. They're definitely a very dangerous team with a bunch of high quality wins. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to pick brackets this year. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, we might have to make that a segment here on the show. Us revealing our brackets.
Sure. Yeah.
When the time comes. In Lenardi's current breakdown, the rundown by conference: ACC 10 teams, SEC 8, Big 12 7, Big East 6, Big 10 4, American 3, Pac-12 3, West Coast 3, and Atlantic 10 2. So far, and obviously all the teams that just get the one team from their conference win.
Yep.
Current on the bubble, the last 4 byes Lenardi has is Kansas State, Providence, NC State, Baylor. The last 4 in, St. Bonaventure right there. Syracuse, Louisville, USC. First 4 out, UCLA, Texas, Washington, Penn State. Next 4 out, Nebraska, Boise State, Utah, Georgia.
I think UCLA has a chance to sneak in.
I mean, yeah, you got to see how we never know how conference championships play out.
Yep.
I'm hoping my Terps get a little hot and pull off a few upsets here in this tournament. It ain't looking that way, but one can hope, right?
Yeah. Who knows? I will say though,
Penn State.
Definitely watch out for UCLA because I remember watching the game. They went to Arizona and just dominated them through the entire game.
Right.
There's no chance in hell that Arizona's going to win. I mean, Arizona's probably going to win, should win, projected to win the Pac-12, assuming, Sean Miller's a solid coach. I mean, I wouldn't sleep on UCLA either. They can get hot. But it's like I said, it's all about consistency.
Right. So, I mean, if you can find,
they can say,
if you can just find your best brand of basketball, now's the time to do it. If you can do it now, it can be deadly.
Got that right.
I saw Penn State's among the first 4 out, and Penn State's basketball, is shoddy at best in most situations. Everyone knows that. I will say this though, they do have some very good wins this season. They actually whooped number 8 Ohio State not too long ago. Like, they whooped them.
That's definitely a good win.
79-56. They
beat Ohio State. Beating Ohio State.
They beat Ohio State on their own floor, 82-79. And they've hung in there with everyone. They lost to number 5 Michigan State 76-68. Lost to Purdue, who's number 6, 76-73. Lost to Michigan State Michigan 72-63. They should handle their business against Nebraska tomorrow in their last regular season game, and that would put them at 10-8 in the conference with a 20-11 overall record. Probably not enough to get you in the first place, but if you go in, you make some noise in the Big Ten tournament, you can find yourself getting one of them last 4 spots.
Yeah, most definitely.
And Penn State, I couldn't even tell you the last time they made the NCAA tournament of basketball.
Definitely been a minute. I think it's definitely been a minute.
I mean, I always hear each year how good they could be.
Try Degree Ultra Clear Black Plus White.
That they're going to start, but it never really happens. This is going to be their best shot.
Looking like it. And I'm gonna real quick point out how legit Big East basketball is today. Number 3 Villanova got upset by Creighton, 89-83. So,
man, that conference is
insane.
You can make an argument it's the best conference in college basketball.
Could definitely argue that.
You can make a strong argument.
You know, they have what team? They have teams with Villanova, Xavier, Creighton, Rhode Island, Providence. All solid teams. You know, I mean, well, last year I think 5 of those teams were all ranked.
Right.
It's insane.
You have.
I mean,
there's a chance that they'll get 2 1 seeds this year, in Xavier and Villanova.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got Xavier, you got Villanova, you got Seton Hall, you got Creighton, you got Butler, you got Providence, you got Marquette. And then after that, it's Georgetown, DePaul, and St. John's, who, it's a bit of a fall off. But, we've seen all 3 of those teams be tournament teams at a time.
Yeah.
I can recall when St. John's was making a tournament a few years back, same with DePaul. Georgetown used to be a very good team.
Yeah. I mean, but today there's definitely a couple notable losses. I mean, in this case, this was a tight game that college should have. It was definitely gonna help out with the seeding and all that. Kansas ended up beating Texas Tech on the road, 74-72.
That is a big time win for them. Auburn dropped another one today to Florida, by the way.
Yep.
That's not going to help that
and,
2 seed.
Also something to note: the 14 Arizona, probably front runners to win the Pac-12, drops 1 to Oregon on the road.
Sure did.
So, I mean, will that affect anything? Probably not. I could definitely see Arizona being like a 2 or 3 seed just because I would probably project them to win the Pac-12. But, to be determined. Conference tournaments can change.
And, the strongest team in the top 25, Middle Tennessee, knocking off the UAB Blazers today, 79-54.
Yep, that was definitely a dominating win. At least, when you beat a team by at least 20, pretty safe to say that you handled your business.
Oh, by the way, you remember that Virginia defense we were talking about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
66-37 over Pittsburgh today. They gave up 7 points in the first half.
What?
7 points. You heard that right.
7?
7.
What? What? That's insanity. You held a team to 7 points. I don't care. Pittsburgh has won a grand total of 8 games this year. Okay, they suck. But you held any basketball team to 7 points in 20 minutes of basketball.
Yeah, Division 1.
That means any Division 1 team. That means you held a team, like on average, you held a team, their team, Pittsburgh didn't score a point for about 13 minutes.
Correct.
That's insanity. I mean, that's insanity. And at halftime, it's 30-7.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, Pittsburgh, not great by any standards. Still impressive against anybody to hold a team to 7 points.
Yep. It helps to know you can have an off night knowing that you can hold teams to, 40 to 60 points consistently.
Most definitely. I mean, Virginia, I think it was a good stat. I mean, Virginia, whenever teams play Virginia, they are held usually about 28 points below the season average because of that defense.
It's impressive to say the least. It's very impressive.
You got that right. I mean, it's
maybe one of the best defensive teams.
It's insane
we've seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, it's insane what they're able to do. And it's not like, and the thing with Virginia is it's not a full court press. It's not West Virginia defense.
Right.
They don't foul. It's like, I feel like, what would you call it, like a trap? Because
they smother you. That's what they do.
Yeah, they do great help defense, but they're able to get back.
They play great team defense. Well. That's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to do it so well, and it pays dividends for them. Number 1 seed, you only lost 2 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. I mean, I'm like, that's just what I mean. I'm not even a fan of Virginia. I'm not like a diehard Cavaliers fan, but it's just wonderful to watch. Like, because it's so hard to come by, get high quality defense nowadays. But, major power to them. Great. Yeah, they got a great program going on over there. They could definitely make some noise this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut down the nets, but still to be determined.
Yep. What they say. It takes one bad night, your season's over, just like that.
Yep.
But they ain't gonna give up 80 out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you say they ain't there's no team that scored above 70?
Nope. And I mean, the one time a team came close, they did lose.
Yeah.
But like we said, it was very early on in the season, so. Yep. It's gonna be it's March Madness. It's unpredictable to say the least. We don't know what's gonna happen. That's the beauty of it.
Yep.
Unless you have a team that you have to root for. It's not always the greatest.
Yeah, and then once like your main picks are out, you kind of just become stress-free and like, all right, now I can actually just watch basketball without losing my mind.
Right.
But definitely excited. I'm definitely excited to watch them. But yeah.
And it's always a question: is this the year a 16 beats a 1?
16-1? Is that what you said?
Is this the year a 16 beats a 1?
I'm telling you now, no one that 16 seed's not beating Virginia.
Yeah, that's gonna be a slaughter.
Hell.
I mean, just looking at the team, yeah, I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either with any of the 1 seeds.
Just looking at the potential matchups. I mean, Florida Gulf Coast had that 2-year stretch where they looked like they were really good, but they haven't beat anyone. They don't even have a 1 through 50 win. They're just gonna win their conference and be done. They've played Middle Tennessee, it's the best team they've played, and they lost by double digits. Played Rhode Island, lost by 20. They're not gonna beat anybody. You got Harvard, who is another team that has been known to pull out a couple games, but again, they don't even have a win in the top 100 of the RPI. So they're not going to beat a 1 seed. The Ivy League, they just beat up on each other. That's why they all have 500 records. They're even with each other.
Yeah.
Apart from that time when Harvard had those teams that were up, they were getting past the first round every year.
Yeah, like they were making it. It's like one of those like staple upset matches. They were able to get like a 12 or a 13.
Tri-degree ultra clear black plus white.
Make those upsets. So.
And usually, the other 2 16 seeds are playing games right now. Nichols is rated as one of the teams that get a play-in game, and they don't have a win within the RPI top 150. So. And they lost to UMBC. That's all I got to hear about that.
That's all I got. That's all I need to hear.
Savannah State also not a win within the top 150, and they played Cincinnati, lost by 40. Played Texas Tech, lost by a bunch. Wichita State lost by a bunch. A&M lost by a bunch. Virginia lost by a bunch. Michigan State lost. You're seeing a pattern here. They're not beating these top teams. It's
yeah. I mean, you probably most likely Virginia is probably a lock for the 1 seed. You got Nova, and right now, assuming the tournament started, everything stays the same. You got Virginia lock, Nova no.
Tri-degree ultra clear black plus white.
16 teams touching them.
It's like people say, one time a team's just gonna, the 1 seed's gonna look past them too much, and it's gonna cost them. I see your argument, but I don't know. I feel like these 1 seed teams, they're just like
I feel like their coaches are too good to let that happen.
Not only that, it's just like, it's just like, you know what? We're not gonna even allow ourselves to let that happen.
Yeah,
we're just gonna go out. We're gonna kick their ass. It's gonna be over.
Yep.
We'll on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned earlier the coach from Virginia. He's not like arrogant. He's not. He handles his business. Coaches greatly. Takes no mercy really on anybody. They play lockdown the entire game, the entire 40 minutes of play, and against any team. They played a hapless Pittsburgh team today. The 7 points. Did they care? No. You know what? They still beat their ass, and it's nothing like that. Villanova, great coach over there, same same deal. I mean, my mind's going blank on names right now, so I'm sorry for not being specific. But all great coaches. Xavier, same thing. And the fourth one seed, it could be Purdue, it could be Michigan State, or it could be
Kansas.
Kansas. Kansas, same thing.
Yeah, Bill Self. Yeah, he's been there for a while.
Been there forever. I just don't. It's just not. I just don't think it's just not possible. I mean, no, it's possible, but it's just not gonna happen.
I mean, even a 2 through 15, 2 and 15, it's not common. It's happened a couple times. I remember when Mercer beat Duke the one year.
Yeah.
That was a 2-15. That's the only one I can think of.
I think Florida Gulf Coast was a 15. They beat Miami when they were at 2.
Yeah, Miami was kind of fluky too that year, though. I do remember that though.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, man, why can't Maryland just have one team make the tournament so we can have someone to root for,
Yeah, someone to root for.
I'm looking at this. I already see like 5 teams in Florida that are in. Every other state can get multiple teams. We can't even get one. We can't even get our big school to get in.
Yeah.
Looking here for.
Hey man, there's lacrosse.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, yeah, we dominated that.
Yeah.
Is Louisiana? Does that mean LSU? Oh, okay. The good old Raging Cajun.
Raging Cajuns.
The Freemasons of.
I mean, I'm just looking. I see Miami, Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah. We can't get one team to root for, Maryland. It's a struggle in Maryland, man. Our basketball team suck, dude. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I mean,
Coppin State is abysmal. UMBC is terrible. Towson is okay, but, the only shot they got is if they win the CAA, which isn't looking like it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Loyola, not very good either. I believe that's all our Division 1, so.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Central League, the state of Maryland.
Maryland is, Yeah, remember how I said all they gotta do is, maybe they could beat Michigan today. Yeah, I was wrong. They were down 30 at halftime.
They were down 30. Jesus.
Yep, and Michigan coasted the rest of the way.
Yep, but
Try Degree Ultra Clear Black plus White.
It just ended.
You know what? The great thing about the NFL, as soon as it ends, there's more to talk about. As all you big fans know, the NFL Combine is coming up in the weeks following.
Yes, sir.
It's always exciting to watch, to see your favorite guys, see what they do, see what happens to their draft stock afterwards. And, this class is a very offensive-oriented class, I think.
I think offensively it's loaded.
I mean, obviously there's solid defensive players as well. That's not what we're saying. There's obviously very good defensive players too. But, the prospects coming out, the offensive firepower.
Yeah, the running back class is insanity. Yeah.
You just look at the top 5 guys, and, you can kind of forget who else is still there. Josh Adams from Notre Dame, Bo Scarborough, Royce Freeman from Oregon.
Yep, and they're not even in the top 5.
Not even. The top 5, Mike Maycock's top 5. You got Saquon Barkley, Darius Geis, Ronald Jones, Sonny Michel, and Nick Chubb are the listed top 5 running backs right now in this draft class, which, I agree. I mean, that guy, Rashad Penny from San Diego State, is a very solid back. I think I might have him above Chubb or Nick Chubb, in my personal opinion.
Okay. I think maybe it's a little biased because I love watching Notre Dame, but I would put Josh Adams above Chubb, but because he considering who the Notre Dame's quarterbacks were, you have a freshman Brandon Woodbush and backup Ian Book. I mean, Adams was averaging, thanks to a great offensive line, but he's still averaging a buck. I think he a lot of games he had like a $130 at least on the ground, and a touchdown. His numbers were insane this year.
What are you willing to do, and what are you willing to give up?
I think he's a very capable back. Ian.
If you're going to compete against
a lot of teams, I think he would have had a very good success. But the running backs this year are absolutely insane. I mean, I think Barkley is definitely a top 3 pick.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just don't want him to end up in Cleveland. One, because I'm a Penn State football fan. I love Saquon Barkley. Great running back. Probably the most freakish athlete in this draft, I think I'd have to say.
Yeah, I mean, a dude can clean. How much did he clean? 475.
Something like that. Yeah, he.
It was that's power. That's cleaning. That's not bench press or squatting. That's cleaning.
Yep.
We're running back.
And he's he's got sprinter speed. He can catch passes. He really fits well with the Patriots.
With the Patriots. There's no shot in hell.
But yeah, I mean, he's not falling that deep in the draft. I don't want to end up in Cleveland. One, because Cleveland, they're Cleveland. Two, I don't want to have to play him. I don't want to have to play him twice a year.
Yeah.
But you got Darius Geis, a little bit more of a bruiser.
Definitely, he definitely fits like that LSU, I guess, mantra. The aurora of them. LSU, I think is definitely gonna. I think historically their offense has always been a very pound bruising team.
Right.
Even when Steve was there.
I mean, a common NFL comparison I've heard for Geis is Marshawn Lynch.
Which, yeah, I think we all know who Marshawn Lynch is.
Right.
And the style of running he's done over his career.
But, Geis has dealt with injuries throughout his college career, which is probably a concern for some teams.
I think he has an extra chip on his shoulder because he's from a very bad part of Louisiana. He's actually from the same part Shane Ray is from. He's the outside linebacker for Denver.
Right.
They call it the Murder Factory. And I think that when coming from the hood, you're fighting. Essentially, he's playing for it's not just for him, but to get out of that messed up part of the hood. He's also playing for his mom, so if you can land a contract, you're able to move your mom and your immediate family out of that neighborhood. That'd be a blessing. And so I think he has that extra chip on his shoulder, which you have an inspiring story like that, you can always appreciate, and root for him to do that.
What are you willing?
I guess real quick, just gonna go back to Saquon Barkley. If he doesn't fall for it, if Cleveland somehow doesn't take him for whatever reason, I think the Giants will happily take him because they need a running back. But I think
they do, but I think there's more glaring needs on the Giants that sure. I don't think. Me being a GM, I'd say I'd take the first freaking pick.
Especially with the Browns, they have first and fourth.
Right. Who is third?
I know this. I can't think of it. Is it Indy?
It is the Colts. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you
they're I think they're more than likely to take an O lineman as well.
They might take Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, they need help bad down there.
Yep.
And so yeah, I mean you are right. One of the Giants' needs is a running back, so we will see. Yeah, I just don't think the Browns should. I should take Barkley with the first pick. I wouldn't even risk it.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you. If Barkley's sitting at the Giants with number 2, I would instantly take him.
Right.
No, that's no argument for me. Even if you wanted, a defensive lineman or whatever, wherever the Giants, I guess, you said you had the more glaring needs. I'd imagine for the Giants it'd be an offensive lineman or a freaking defensive lineman, really. But I would take, instantly instantly. No decision. Like, there's no argument.
Imagine how explosive that offense would be. Not thinking about with Barkley and Odell Beckham.
Yeah, they have Odell, Sterling Shepard, you know, Evan Ingram, who's essentially a receiver who just happens to play tight end.
Right.
That's a very dangerous offense. You know, they still have Brandon Marshall. Like, that would be insane. You know, I mean, I think you know, they're gonna have they're gonna have Pat Shurmur as their head coach this year, offensive minded coach. You know, definitely help the Vikings. You know, in Case Keenum do what they did this year, which shocked a lot of people. I think on how successful their offense was. And so I think he might be a good fit for Eli and for what they're trying to do. So, but you know, we'll see. Because you know they were supposed to do well this year, and you know, we all know how that went.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You know, it seems almost a certainty that the Browns are going to draft a quarterback at some time in this draft. Now, when should they pull the trigger on the quarterback in this draft?
When?
I'm
going to be honest with you. I mean, I wish they gave Cody Kessler a little more of a chance. I think it was insane that I'm not Hugh Jackson. I don't know shit compared to Hugh Jackson. But as a fan's perspective,
if you like spice and fish,
I don't think Cody Kessler was that half bad, you know, 2 years ago.
Right.
I mean, I think he definitely had a chance to develop. You know, he had that USC, you know, the typical USC aurora to him that, you know, I didn't like. You know, I think USC, one at the time, USC was overrated. And, you know, everyone loved Kessler. But, I mean, he wasn't bad. I think he warranted, he could definitely give him time and see where he could go. To be honest with you, I wouldn't spend a high draft pick on him. I mean, I don't think, you know, like, if you're thinking about getting Rosen or Darnold or Sam Darnold, I wouldn't spend on my number 4 pick on Darnold or any other quarterback in this draft. I don't think they're worth it.
Lamar Jackson is worth it.
That would be a Browns pick. That would be a
you know, I actually like Lamar Jackson. I think
he is too, but he's not number 4 overall.
Absolutely, but I don't agree with necessarily with the reports coming out that he should become a wide receiver. No, I mean, I don't think so.
You saying you don't think he should be a receiver?
No, I definitely think he should be. I definitely think he can bring success. I mean, he's Mike Vick. He's Mike Vick.
He's very similar to Mike Vick.
You know, that's all I can say. He is Mike Vick. You know.
Now, what team would take a Mike Vick?
You know, that's absolutely true. You know, I don't think he quite has the breakaway speed like Mike Vick does either.
He's close. He is elusive.
But I mean, just the athleticism of Lamar Jackson is going to win you 5 games alone. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
I'm curious, you know, because, you know, it's different. It's a brand. It's a whole new different game in the NFL. And I'm just curious to see, you know, his decision making. Is it still good? Is he able to make those tight throws? And because, you know, there's going to be, you know, everyone's fast on the NFL.
Right. Everyone. And, you know, I've heard it, you know, I heard it best from Herm Edwards one time. You know, a rookie quarterback is going to throw, you know, probably 5 to 8 interceptions just because the game speed is so different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a ball that you fit in college with no problem, it's different in the NFL. Guy.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to adjust to the speed. I definitely think that, you know, there's kind of a big push of RPOs in the NFL right now. I don't think it's as much as Tony Romo says there is, because every time there's a play-action play, he sets an RPO. if you ever noted.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, he has no idea what an RPO is, but yeah, that's a whole other subject.
But, you know, I think Jackson, much like Deshaun Watson, you know, he's going to make mistakes, you know, turning the ball over. But I think he has the athleticism and the big play ability, you know, to kind of counterbalance himself with all that.
He needs I would say he needs like a Bill O'Brien kind of coach. You know, I think when Deshaun Watson, if you asked me last year if Deshaun Watson was like going to be a great quarterback, I wouldn't think so. But the fact that he landed in Houston with Bill O'Brien, who coached in college and is a known great quarterback coach, that was perfect for him.
Oh, absolutely. That's the first thing I thought as soon as I was like, you know what? That's probably the best spot he could have landed.
Yeah, that is. And you couldn't be more right about that. Like he got very lucky.
And it showed. You know what? His time on the field, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, before he tore his ACL, before he tore his knee up, he was phenomenal.
Now, we've seen what happens when the knee goes with a couple other of those scrambling type quarterbacks. So we don't know what this next year brings.
Yep.
But I mean, Deshaun has showed the ability to sit back in the pocket and deliver strikes down the field too, as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Unlike RG3, he didn't have to rely on being able to move to make plays.
Yeah, he can throw the ball and make his progression. That you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to do both. You can't just rely on one in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah. I'd be curious because I'm not sure where. I'm just like, where would be where? I'm just trying to think of a good landing spot for Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure what team would take him.
Right.
And and the thing is, in order to be a good coach, we talked about this in the first episode. We talked about how Doug Peterson was able to adjust for Nick Foles.
Yep, absolutely.
And like the thing, and we'll say this: they actually ran RPOs.
They sure did.
They ran them damn well. Nick didn't.
Their execution is the best in the league, perhaps.
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. So if you can. It's just the thing is, an offensive coordinator, whoever gets Lamar Jackson, has to, and if it's going to be their quarterback, you have to adjust. You can't, if you're expecting Lamar Jackson to do 80%, like 80 to 90% of the plays are going to be like,
you're a stubborn coach. It's my way or the highway. You can't. That's not how it can be with that.
You can't. And a good coach shouldn't do that. I'm just trying to think. I would, as much as it's a little questionable. I think, if the Jets could take a shot on him because, Hackenberg, sad to say, Bryce Petty ain't getting it.
Oh, yeah, Bryce Petty is absolutely not your answer for the quarterback, but I don't know. Todd Bowles is not an offensive coordinator guy, and
no, he's definitely a defensive-minded coach. I'm not sure who the offensive coordinator is for the Jets, but.
And Lamar Jackson is not the type of quarterback where you draft him and say, okay, we'll sit him behind. Say the Saints got him. Okay, we'll sit him behind Brees so we can learn the ropes for a few. He's not that guy. He's going to come to the NFL and make plays right away.
Yeah.
So he's not the kind of guy we're going to draft for the future.
Yeah.
So, the Bills could be a possible landing spot, I think.
I would think the Bills, especially depending on how that Tyrod situation pans out. I think Tyrod's going to return this year for the Bills.
Right.
For the year after, who knows?
And
it's going to entirely depend on Nathan Peterman's progression because Peterman ran a very pro-style offense in college, but holy hell.
He looked god-awful when we saw that. He threw 5 picks in one. I don't think he could, I'm sorry. I think in that kind of situation, it's, who you are is who you are.
Yeah, I'm definitely not impressed. He threw 5 picks against the Chargers, but so I wouldn't sell him yet if he does.
What I think a good spot for him could be Jacksonville. I know, but they just signed Foles to a freaking extension, so Lord knows. God almighty. Look, I understand you just went to the AFC Championship game, right? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was the best year your franchise had in a long while. Probably a decade.
Yeah.
A little over a decade. But, you know, I think Blake Bortles showed you that he's not getting you to a Super Bowl. You know, he had a chance to go out and win that game for you in New England, and what happened?
Yeah. I mean, I think they were just too conservative that game. They had the opportunity to win it.
You know, I guess the guy ran for more yards than he threw in the wild card game
against the Bills.
You know, the Bills. You know, they're you know, an above average defense. They ain't world beaters out there though.
True. Very true.
So I don't know. You know, that could be a team that needs a quarterback, but I guess they think that Bortles is their guy going on. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've just been thinking. I mean, you know, I'll tell you a team that definitely needs a quarterback. Arizona. No, Carson Palmer's retired. Bruce Arians is retired.
That's a good point.
They're gonna need to tear it down. I don't think Drew Stanton's the answer. Or Blaine Gabbert. I don't think they're the answer for Arizona. The question is, does Arizona trust Lamar Jackson to run what they want? You know, do you think Lamar Jackson's gonna, fit what they want to do with the football? I don't think so. I think Arizona is more of a team that's gonna draft like Sam Darnold or the kid Allen from Wyoming.
Right.
I think they're probably gonna go down that route, but you know, other teams that could use a quarterback. I mean, I don't know if the Bears are sold on Mitchell Trubisky, but you know, it's only been 1 year. I think Trubisky showed some upside.
He did a little.
He's deadly accurate, but needs to continue.
You know what? I don't understand this thing when a quarterback gets drafted, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, I could see by week 9 him definitely being the starting quarterback. Yeah, screw that, man. If you're drafting this guy and that's your guy, play him right away.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, don't wait until midway through.
You know, like that seems to be like the whole new thing now. You know, you draft a quarterback and it's like, yeah, we'll probably see him midway through the season. Why? If that's you drafted him because that's your guy. You know, the quarterback is, you know, the most important position in football. That one, well, is not always true unless you have the greatest defense of all time. Without one, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you draft a quarterback, play him from week 1. That, you know, that's what the Ravens did with Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in that situation where you have a veteran and you're saying we're drafting this guy because when you know, our guy retires, he's stepping up.
Yeah.
But if you're drafting a quarterback because you need one, then I don't see why you're not playing him. You know he's gonna need a quarterback now. He doesn't really fit. He didn't really fit the offense they run right now, Lamar Jackson. But the Bengals are gonna need a quarterback here soon.
You think they're gonna let Andy Dalton walk?
I think they might let him walk. And you know they're definitely gonna lose McCarron. They're not gonna be able to pay both of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm very shocked McCarron never took over last year.
You were surprised?
I was very surprised. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought he was your guy going forward.
Understandable. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Dalton did the Carson Palmer and went to Arizona.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Very viable. You know, especially if they want to keep the win now or try to win now mentality. Because to be really honest with you, you know they have a young core of receivers outside of Fitzgerald. Fitz is Fitz, but outside of that, you know, Jerron Brown and John Brown and J.J. Nelson, they're all young. They still have Patrick Peterson. They still have the Honey Badger. They have Chandler Jones. They're very capable, I think, you know, contending for the NFC West. Will they? I think they're going to have to do it soon. Because, I would feel bad if Patrick Peterson sat in Arizona and never won a ring.
Right. Well, I mean,
I don't think he should deserve that, but.
I mean, that's a tough division right now. You know, the Seahawks are the Seahawks. You got the Rams now, who looks like they're going to be very good for years to come.
Yeah,
you got the Niners, who won their last 6 games with Garoppolo quarterback, something like that, 5 or 6.
5 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won they won the last 5 games of the year. Pretty sure, or 6.
When they started cheering when Bethune got hurt, man, those fans. You know, it's really not funny if you think about it. Guy gets there, but you know,
yeah,
it is funny. You
know, Garoppolo is definitely, in him and Shanahan being there, I think is going to be a good fit. I think they just need to, if they're able to upgrade their receiving core a little bit, I think the Niners are going to be the Niners are going to be right back where they were, Harbaugh era. Very, in contention for the NFC West, just with like with Seattle and LA. It's going to be a tough division. They're going to, the NFC West in like a year or two is going to be able to make their case for, toughest division in football. I think. I mean, right now, I think that title might belong to the NFC South.
Yeah, I would say it's the NFC South right now.
Yeah, but they're gonna make their case. I mean, Seattle, it's not. I think their reign's coming to a close soon. Because I mean, they have too many alpha dogs on their defense to, stick together. Because at one point they're gonna end up pointing fingers at each other.
Yeah, the cookies kind of been crumbling for the past couple of years over there. For that 3 year period, it was Seattle. Oh my God, this team is awesome. They're got one of the best defenses we've ever seen. They won that Super Bowl. They went to the other one, and very easily could have won.
Should have.
Well, you said should have, not me. You're the Pats.
I'm being honest. I mean, they should have won it, but I'm not an offensive coordinator, so.
But I mean, lately, they just haven't had that kind of, the same feeling about them as a couple of years prior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the big thing for me now is that going to play in Seattle is not what it used to be. Not many teams. I think many teams will be able to adjust, and with the defense not being what it was, they're able to score points. And going into Seattle is not as daunting as it was a couple of years ago. Because if you're asking if you ask any team to go to in Seattle in 2013 to go to Seattle and play a game, they're gonna lose.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Seattle didn't lose once during that year. It was that year stretch. They had that phenomenal defense. They didn't lose once at home.
Yep.
All those explosive offenses just were put to rest. And the crowd noise being being one of the loudest teams in the NFL. It still is, but it's just there isn't that special mystique about them. It's kind of similar to New England now because there's not as many. There's still a mystique to New England, but it's not the same. It's not as widespread. When the Ravens went up there and beat New England, and I think the 2012 one was a very significant one. I think that's the one that kind of changed it. And it was right. Gave teams confidence.
And then Denver went there and did it, and
yeah. And so I mean, more teams have been able to do it. They've been able to hang with them. I think it's been more they've been able to hang. Not that the environment, defeat them already, psychologically, but it's just not the same. It's not the same anymore. There's not that mystique that, oh shit, we gotta go to Seattle. It's all right, we gotta go to Seattle. Let's prove everybody wrong. But Seattle. I mean, I think Seattle's got a couple years left. It depends on who they're able to retain on the defensive side of the ball, and if they're able to improve their offensive line at all. Because Russell Wilson. I mean, I feel bad for Russell Wilson. He had no time at all. None.
Very elusive, though.
Yeah, I mean, if he can, I mean, the problem is you can't. There's only so many times you can zig and zag in the backfield and make stuff happen.
Right.
I mean, you said the elusive Lamar Jackson won 5 games. Yeah, Russell Wilson won 7 games with that, but you're gonna get him killed.
Mm-hmm.
So they need help on the offensive line.
Yeah. All right, so that was our talk about the draft for today. I mean, obviously we'll get down more in the future episodes as the draft gets closer and closer.
Yeah, I think next week will definitely be a heavier combine draft focus because the combine will be starting up.
Right. But let's get into something else. Something a little different. It's still kind of sports related, but not all the way. So MLB 18, the show. The trailers have been dropping. They're starting to get us excited again for the show. Coming out, March 27th this year?
Yes, sir.
2 days before MLB opening day. How about that?
Yeah, about that.
So I'm obviously very excited for this game. It's one of the games I look forward to coming out every year. It's to be honest, it's a game that made me get a PlayStation. MLB the show.
I was able to. You were an Xbox fellow. I was able to convert you to the land of PlayStation.
Yeah.
Come over to my house and played countless hours of MLB 12 and MLB 13.
13.
I think 13 sold you.
Yep.
Yeah, 13 definitely sold you. But it was a fantastic game.
Probably the franchise's best, I'd have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
But what they've been showing for 18 so far, I think is very promising. They're making a good game even better. I feel like, if they're able to make it better, and that's just alone, that's wonderful. That's awesome. I love playing the show every year. Love playing my Orioles franchise, and maybe have my Road to the Show character, or maybe have try to make a rebuilding project with a certain team. It's fun to do. I love playing it. It's something I can keep going back to over and over again, and it's hard for me to get tired of it.
They've made the game so kind of real life like.
It's a true simulator. Right.
And they're even doing it more this year. Like they showed us features how if you're if you're a team and you're getting blown out, and you're home, the ballpark's gonna be like empty by the time the game's over. That's just keeps adding on to the realism. There's gonna be I heard there's gonna be like player interactions this year. Like, guy hits a double at second base, he's talking to the second baseman afterwards.
Yeah, there's gonna be more. It's gonna be more electrifying. So the dugout will go crazy too. If a big play happens or whatever.
Right.
So it's just it's the little things. It's not like any big changes because I think they already mastered the big details of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the more little details that true baseball fans can appreciate and will notice.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see what they do with Road to the Show this year. They kind of opened it up a little bit last year, adding some of the cutscenes. They obviously got a little redundant if you continued on playing your My Career into the several seasons. Yeah. They were cool coming up to the minors and then going, at the beginning of the major leagues. Because it was new. It was cool, but I want to see them kind of expand with that this year. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure there'll be a release about it in the upcoming weeks with the full. They usually have.
I'm pretty sure they have a schedule.
Right, they usually have a video with Ramon Russell explaining all the new features of the game. They go mode by mode. They'll go one for their Diamond Dynasty, one for franchise, one for Road to the Show. And another really cool part about the game is the fact that Operation Sports, gets you the full minor league rosters.
Yep.
It's another thing that just adds to the real. It's fun to take a real life prospect and then go out through the season and you build them up and then you call them up to the majors. Even before you get to see it in real life. And
yeah, it makes those rebuilding projects more authentic.
Right.
it adds to the realism that like baseball, like true baseball fans who love the game. I mean, I like to think I love watching baseball and playing it. It's great for me, and I think I could same for you as well. I love that like extra realism to it. So, I mean, it's just like the one downside is the Operation Sports Hours just take a couple weeks, but can't complain about them because it's fantastic work.
Right.
I mean, it's very tedious to go through.
Right? How those guys go out and get every player in the
every player.
Right, from MLB to Single A, how they get every player's information and name and stance and all their stats and their appearance and all that stuff.
It's so tedious.
Right. It's something that doesn't have to be done, but
kind of just view it as an opportunity to play your road to the show, get him up, for 2 or 3 weeks, and then once the rosters drop, start the franchise.
Yep. I remember we used to, like, as soon as the rosters came out, we'd be right on it.
Oh yeah. Didn't matter if I had hours of homework to do. I'm definitely playing at least one game.
Yep.
Franchise. But I love the show game. It's the rosters are fantastic. Even when they did it for NCAA football when that video game series was a thing. That was high quality work too, and they still do them. They still update them the year to year. It's on NCAA 14.
Yeah,
they still do the rosters, and it's quality work.
I was a bigger fan of the older recruiting in the games.
Yeah,
when you had the battles with the other schools. Now it's just kind of like you just allocate points and.
Yeah, the old recruiting was more interactive.
Yeah, hopefully college football can make its way back one day.
Hopefully, one can hope.
One can hope.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have any plans like being a? I guess you get the show every year now. I mean, do you have any special plans for it? Like, is there anything that you want to do outside of like the normal?
Trade Manny Machado with my Orioles.
See how much you can get from
franchise. Yeah. Go get Aaron Judge.
Get Aaron Judge. Okay.
Maybe Clint Frazier with him.
Definitely, you can definitely do some damage.
You think he'll be a 9-9 this year, Judge?
Yeah, have a 6'7" behemoth play right field for him.
I don't think he should be a 99 because there are like some, he's not a perfect player. Obviously, he can hit the shit out of the ball when he gets a hold of it, but.
Yeah, I guess to me, I think Aaron Judge is like a 95 to 97.
Yeah.
But I think that it's very hard to put it's very hard when you have your cover athlete. It's very hard to not put your cover athlete at 99. But
they've gotten better with that. I remember in 13 when there was like 50 guys that were 99 overall.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Basically, if you were perennial All-Star, 99.
Yeah, if you're on the All-Star team for both leagues, you're 99. Yeah, there was like I had to scroll for how many 99 players there were that year. You shouldn't be able to scroll. There should be like a handful, there should be like a handful in the game, and like maybe. I mean, hell, Madden, if you're a 99 overall, that's generous. Like there's only like 1 or 2 of them. But it was still a good game. It's just a little much.
Right.
13. But I think they definitely got better about it.
So yeah, that's going to be exciting in the upcoming weeks.
Yep.
They do a good job getting you excited.
Mhm.
Real good job.
I think the show, from what I can remember, is like the highest rated sports game over the past couple of years, at least.
I will definitely agree with that.
Even like the people's jobs is to criticize, rate games. I've seen like the show consistently get at least 9 out of 10 stars, and it's I'll see 2K or Madden doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a great game, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for it. It's only a month and 2 days away. So
How about that? But I got another little topic that is really starting to pick up some heat here among professional wrestling fans. I know you're not really in touch with that right now, and I haven't really watched the product in a few years either. But there is a very interesting story going on now with what many people would say is the top guy in the under the WWE in the WWE company right now, one of probably the top wrestler or the top build wrestler. Roman Reigns is could be in some hot water coming up here. So, as you know, if you're, have followed professional wrestling, WrestleMania is right around the corner. It usually happens end of March, early April. And, it is assumed by many that the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, I'm reading this article right now, or, getting the scoop. The Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is later today, as it is 2:40 in the a.m., so this Sunday. And, Roman Reigns is set to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and it's to determine the number one contender for the WWE Universal Champion, who's Brock Lesnar. And the winner of the Elimination Chamber will face him at WrestleMania. It is predicted by many that Roman Reigns will be the winner of this match and go on to face Brock at WrestleMania. But there is a very interesting story going around the wire right now that Roman Reigns could be involved with convicted steroid distributor Richard Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's that's no joke.
Richard Rodriguez, I believe, is the name of the guy. Yeah, okay, so this guy is involved with a very big steroid ring, $10 million to be exact. Richard Rodriguez, I believe, is the man who is, in charge of all this. Well, on this guy's YouTube channel, his name is Johnny Bravo. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, I haven't.
Not the TV kid on Cartoon Network. Well, he's doing a series on Richard Rodriguez arrested in jail right now, and his laptop was given to this guy, Johnny Bravo, who is kind of investigating, going through all the data. And the first episode of it came out, and it was all about this guy named John Dumel or something, as well as, and later on the video, he went to say Roman Reigns was connected. Now, Roman Reigns has already had a drug abuse problem in the WWE. A couple of years ago, I believe in 2016, he failed a drug test and was suspended for 30 days for failing the wellness policy. Now, we don't know what this guy, Johnny Bravo, has on Roman Reigns. But if it comes out that he purchased more steroids after the initial 2016 suspension, Roman Reigns could be in some big trouble.
Yeah, that could definitely affect his career, really.
I believe the policy in WWE is your first bust 30 days, your second bust is a 60-day suspension.
Okay.
Now,
so it wouldn't be an end all.
Right. Now, obviously, WWE, as we know, they have to, they have storylines that they plan months in advance to pay-per-views, and they set, obviously ended up culminating at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Well, if your guy that you booked to be in the main event of WrestleMania is suspended 60 days, that's obviously a big wrench in, you're going to have to go back and change everything.
Yeah, it's definitely have to change a lot.
Now, I don't know what's going to come up in this, what this guy is going to end up having on Roman Reigns. That is yet to be seen. I don't think the next video has come out where he said he's going to reveal exactly what Reigns had. But the interesting thing is, when Reigns was asked about dealing with this guy, Richard Rodriguez, by TMZ, He said that he never knew that guy. He never talked to that guy.
Interesting.
So first of all, Roman Reigns is right now, I would imagine, one of the top paid guys in the WWE, one of the top paid full-time wrestlers.
Yeah, most definitely.
And, he's positioned as one of the top guys in the company, probably the top. It's just like, what? You already got busted once, dude. Why are you, you got everything you want. Why are you risking your career with this stuff, First of all, you're making the company you work bad because, one, you lied, and then two, you can't lay off the frickin' juice.
Yeah.
How's it look for a company when your top guy is juicing all the time? Had to look for the Yankees when A-Rod got busted.
Yeah, that definitely did not look good for PR.
Right. So if this guy comes out, Roman is in deep trouble. And what do you do at WWE? You're handcuffed. If it's released publicly to the world, you can't cover it up. You can't try to, sweep it under the rugs.
Yeah, that's out of the question.
And then you have to go back and change all your plans. But the even more interesting story, which this could completely blast the whole WrestleMania card. This guy, Johnny Bravo, claims that he has 15 other unnamed WWE superstars that have also been involved with this Richard Rodriguez guy.
Huh.
And 15 guys, depending on who they are.
Yeah.
I can wipe out your whole, championship, title like group.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't there a big match like Money in the Bank and all that?
Yep.
A lot. It's it's a solid, good amount of contenders. I used to watch WWE, but it's been years.
Yeah, it's been a few years for me as well. I'm not really. This is an interesting story that I came across this weekend, and yeah. It's not looking good for Roman Reigns because this guy definitely has, he definitely has something, and he has this is an Apple computer. This guy, he has his text messages.
Ooh.
With other people.
Screenshots or it didn't happen.
Yep. So if it comes out of Roman Reigns buying stuff after that 2016 suspension, well, one, you can kiss WrestleMania goodbye. And then,
no bueno.
I'm sure WWE, ever since Brock Lesnar won the title, have been planning this Roman Reigns match. Well, Brock Lesnar held the title for, I'm pretty sure, a year now.
Yeah.
So you got to change all that on a split-second notice, which I can't imagine the easiest thing to do. No, I know that many how when John Cena was like the top guy in the company, he was like, hated by a lot of people because of how much he won, right? Mm-hmm. That's basically basically the same situation going on with Roman Reigns right now. So, the WWE fans probably don't want to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, to be honest, anyway. So, some of them might, quietly be a little thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't wish for a guy, this hour WrestleMania gets suspended, but again, it's his own doing. This guy has.
This is stupid.
This guy, he's the top guy in the company. He has no reason to go out and do that.
Yeah. It's just a very high risk thing, especially when for a guy like him, he has a lot to lose.
Right.
Not just for him, but also for his employment too. His company is not going to look great. Just alone, even nothing's confirmed yet. Right now alone, it looks terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it turns out to be nothing, it still looks terrible because it happened.
That you're involved with this guy who's within a $10 million steroid ring.
Yeah, your name's brought up in a steroid ring. Not good anyway. Even if it's not true,
right?
Just because it happened, it's not a good look.
And it will be very interesting to see what those 15 other names are because.
Yeah, even if it's true. Yeah.
So there's a brand split, Raw and SmackDown. Let's say there's roughly 30 superstars on each brand. Well, that's taking out half a brand superstar, half. And obviously, if it's the bottom half, you don't care. But you got a guys in the main event scene that's getting suspended 30 days, can't wrestle.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to put on the best show possible, being WWE, and
of course, gotta entertain.
Not having your talent, of course, is gonna throw a major wrench in that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this story is definitely gonna be interesting as it continues to develop. I don't know what this guy Johnny Bravo's schedule is with releasing his content on YouTube. I will try to follow it as best as I can. And I'm sure by the next episode we'll have a clearer picture on what Mr. Reigns is going to be. I don't know, man. It could be very bad for him.
Definitely. I think it's bad enough for PR purposes.
Right.
But
how's it look when the top guy in your company is, continually coming up in these steroid,
Yeah. Like his career? Like it's like for his employment? It could get way worse than it already has. So definitely a story to keep an eye on, to say the least.
For sure. The Elimination Chamber is going on later today on the WWE Network at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As I said, a lot of people believe Roman Reigns is going to win that match and go on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So, I don't know. Do you change your plan? As a WWE, creative writer or within the company, do you risk booking Roman Reigns to win that match, not knowing what could possibly happen, or do you change your plans, or do you change your plans now? And there's always other ways to get a guy into a championship match. WWE, you can have us, end up making a triple threat if it turns out that nothing is that he didn't do anything after his initial suspension, but
a triple threat's not out of the question. It's happened before,
right?
I mean, I think there was one. There's one a few years back. It had John Cena, had John Cena, a couple other guys in it. I think Randy Orton was one of them, but I mean, it's not out of the question. Like they don't need to be too exotic about it to make it unforeseen. But you definitely they definitely need to have Plan B and Plan C.
Absolutely. And hopefully you already had it.
Yeah.
Because
make your life easier.
I'm pretty sure WWE's had their mindset on this match for a year.
Yeah.
Well, a lot can happen in a year, even before this. A guy can get injured.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff happens. So.
Got that right.
Yeah, but that's gonna be it for this one, guys. We hope you like the show here tonight. Leave us a like and comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and push that bell so every time we go live. We're gonna try to go live. Every Friday or Saturday night. We're not really sure yet. It's going to be around this time always. But Dylan, got anything to close out with?
I guess the only thing is if you guys want to comment, if throughout the week you comment if you find topics that seem interesting to you, comment on the most recent live stream, and then we can take a look and then definitely take it as a platform to discuss a topic of discussion heading into the next episode. Because help's always appreciated. Talking it's never enough to talk about. It's definitely in the world of sports and among other things.
That's right.
But I think this was a great episode. I enjoyed it.
Yep, had fun.
Yeah, it was good. Always a good time.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time right here on the Dynamic Podcast for episode 3 next weekend. Don't miss it. We'll see you later.